Hello everyone, this is your host TrevCL, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge video. Welcome to the first week of Pseudo June. If you're unaware, every Sunday in June I will be uploading solo runs of the first stage Pseudo Legendaries in their home region. To kick off Pseudo June, we'll be answering if you can beat Pokemon FireRed with only a Dratini. Dratini is probably the most balanced first form Pseudo, as all of its stats are pretty close except for its attack, which is above average at 64. Unfortunately, it can't really take advantage of that attack, as in Gen 3 it only learns normal type moves and Iron Tail as far as physical coverage goes. However, its special move pool is insane. It's got the coveted Bolt Beam, Surf, Flamethrower, and Stab Outrage, so that's a huge bonus. Let's go over the rules. As always, only using Dratini in battles is allowed. I'm not allowed to use any items in battle bar held items, and I can't do any cheating / glitching except to get my Dratini at the start. I think this challenge is going to be possible, but I can tell it won't be fun towards the end game. We start off by grabbing our Dratini at Professor Oak's lab. Unfortunately, I had forgotten to reset for a decent Dratini for this run, so the IVs we end up are some of the worst you can get in most of our stats. Since there's no layout this week, I'll be putting the IVs in the description. One thing I glossed over in the move pool section is the absolutely atrocious moves Dratini starts out with, only knowing Leer and Wrap. If this is Gen 1, Wrap would actually be quite busted, but this is Gen 3. So because of this, I get stomped by the rival, and I can't even beat Route 1 Pokemon. So I have to give Dratini the old Magic Heart treatment and start by grinding on Metapods. I have no chance of beating Brock until I get Twister at level 15, so on to the grueling grind I go. After over 3 hours of in-game time, I'm able to challenge Brock. Because Twister is both stab and a special move, I'm able to easily 2-hit KO the Geodude, while Onix only takes 3 hits, and it barely damages me. This fight was as easy as the grind was terrible. On the way through Mount Moon, I level up to 22, gaining me the early game-breaking Dragon Rage. While it would have been amazing to have this at the start, it'll still be incredibly useful for the next few hours of the gameplay. And you'll see how useful it is starting now with Misty. Dragon Rage is a one-shot on Staryu, which definitely surprised me, and because I resist Water Pulse, Starmie barely gets me below half as Dratini rages through for my second gym badge. Due to time crunch this week, I won't be covering the rival battles in detail until they start getting tough, like with Sylph Company and beyond. Next up on the list is Lieutenant Surge, another gym whose typing I resist. I cleared out so many trainers on the way there that I'm approaching level 40, so I decided to make it a slight challenge by going in at half health. Turns out I could have gone in at a much lower amount, as he fails to even damage me, and I destroy everything in my path. Before going after Erica, I want to gather up some cash so I can buy Ice Beam from the game corner. I clear out the Rocket Hideout for more experience and money, and as I fight Giovanni, you'll notice that I now have Return, a TM I picked up south of Lavender Town. It gives me a solid base 102 physical move, the only physical move I'll end up using in this entire playthrough. Now that I've defeated Giovanni and gained Ice Beam, I know it's best to go right after Erica. I didn't really need Ice Beam for this battle at this moment, especially with the insane level gap I have, but it's definitely satisfying to sweep through a gym leader team after the hell that I went through for Brock. Unfortunately, our level gap advantage is about to dissipate, and our poor IVs will matter starting now. Luckily, to help offset that, we're able to get leftovers incredibly easy. Remember the hell that was getting leftovers prior to post-game in Emerald? Well, in FireRed and Leaf Green, you just have to use the item finder on the spot Snorlax was, and presto, you've got arguably the best item in the game. The leftovers plus our brand new move in Outrage are about to come in clutch against Koga. Coughing goes down to a single Ice Beam, and next up is the main problem, his incredibly thick Muck. Return looks to be that annoying range where it's not enough to 2-hit KO, but enough to put the opponent in full restore range, so I go for Ice Beam. Luckily that keeps him out of red, but I missed my next return due to his Minimize. After taking the second Sludge, I'm thankfully able to take him down. His second Coughing is up next, and while a 3-turn Outrage could win me the match easily at this point, I don't want to risk it in 2 turns and lose into confusion. Ice Beam was barely not a one-shot, but thankfully our Shed Skin comes into play for the first time, neutralizing his Toxic. A few more turns and it's down to his Weezing. Outrage destroys it in 2 hits, as for some odd reason he decides to merely Toxic. A Sludge crit plus Poison could have been dangerous, but it never came down to that, thankfully. Technically Sylph Company and then Sabrina are next in the storyline, but I want to go to Blaine first since I had the type advantage and Surf. Despite his Pokemon now being nearly on par with my Dratini, level-wise, it's not even close. The special attack EVs I've been slowly giving Dratini over time allows me to one-shot his Growlithe and two-shot his Ponyta and Rapidash, leaving just his Arcanine. Admittedly, had he either hit the Fire Blast with Rapidash, or crit with his own Fire Blast with Arcanine, it would cause me reset, but neither happened, which led to another first try victory. The 5th rival fight has me really concerned for the first time this run, so I actually beat up all the grunts in Silph Company. I take him on at level 58, and this was the right decision. The level gap allows me to one-shot his Pidgeot, Growlithe, and Execute. I also outspeed the Alakazam, but even with our 23 level difference and Alakazam's pathetic physical bulk, Return can't one-shot. Definitely very concerning for later on, but for now it just went for Calm Mind. Blastoise is last, and because I don't have Thunderbolt yet, I have to hope I can kill it with just Return faster than he can kill me. Blastoise's level up move pool is pretty bad thankfully, so the best he can do is use Bite. It takes 4 returns and some Protect stalling on his part, but at the end of the day, this fight is another win on the first attempt. Even without any return power points, Giovanni is a complete joke, and it's now time to fight another feared battle, Sabrina. But she's actually disappointing. Kadabra and Mr. Mime are no problem, and Venomoth could have been an issue, but I never hit myself in confusion. I knew that Alakazam would outspeed, and after a Calm Mind I would probably go down in 1 Psychic thanks to my poor Spadef and HP. But despite this Alakazam being nearly 8 levels higher than the rivals, it goes down in 1 hit. I don't know if I just got a really low roll against the rival and a max roll against Sabrina, but I'm not exactly complaining. If you thought the last Giovanni fight for the 8th gym badge would be a pushover, you would be right. Basically, any Pokemon with decent special attack, a water or ice move, and level advantage will turn him into a complete joke for these runs. My last rival fight before the Elite Four nearly does me in, as for some reason I decided to go in without teaching Thunderbolt for Blastoise. The fight goes super smoothly until then, but it starts to go downhill as soon as Blastoise enters. Return does pitiful damage, and his Bite is actually doing just as much, if not more. The only reason I was able to win was because his rain-boosted Torrent move of choice was the 40 base power Water Gun, leaving me with a mere 3 HP. I'll definitely need Thunderbolt before I go to challenge the Elite Four. I've gotta say, up to this point, I don't think I've ever had such a smooth time in a run. I haven't had a whiteout since grinding for the first gym, so everything has been a first try sweep. A few close calls, but just a lot of the optional battles and some additional EV training has let me cruise. Speaking of cruises, you guys remember the Titanic, the unsinkable ship? Remember how it hit an iceberg, leading to one of the most disastrous events of the early 1900s? Want to see a recreation of it through a Pokemon battle, both figuratively and literally? So yeah, that happened. I think it's safe to say I won't be beating Lorelei anytime soon. So for the first time this run, I've got to really go out of my way to grind. And I've got a ton of it to do. Thankfully, I've been picking up a ton of rare candies as well throughout the run, so I don't have to spend more than about an hour grinding before getting up to level 90 with them. I decided at this point to start grinding away attempts until I either win or deem it impossible at this level. I take one last good look at my stats, and it's time to fight. My first attempt against Lorelei starts off extremely well as I crit the Dewgong to OHKO it, then one-shot both Slowbro and Jinx with Thunderbolt in return respectively. I start to think that I may be drastically overleveled, but that thought quickly goes out the window when Lapras comes in. It tanks the Thunderbolt quite nicely and hits me with a Confuse Ray. My luck runs out as I hit myself, and Ice Beam is doing too much damage for poor luck like this. I don't get the crit one-shot against the Dewgong on my second attempt, but I still hacks it thanks to a para, full para. When I get to the Lapras this time, I'm able to avoid hitting myself and break through versus both it and the Cloyster to secure the win. And while I don't have the type disadvantage with Bruno that I did with Lorelei, he still gives me a great challenge. Onix is easy, but Hitmonchan doesn't die to roll in return, even with me being 37 levels higher. Hitmonlee is then able to get off a strong Mega Kick, but it does go down in one hit. Machamp is his ace, and honestly I think I would have had to reset if he hit his first cross chop against me. He doesn't luckily, and as you can see when he does hit with it, it does an insane amount of damage. And then even being slower than his last Onix is incredibly weak, and Bruno is a first try victory. Agatha causes me great annoyances as I keep getting poor luck against her last Gengar, but on my winning attempt, the stars must have aligned or something. Her first Gengar goes down in one Ice Beam thanks to a crit. Golbat has no problem with Thunderbolt. Arbok could have Screeched, which usually helped end my runs at the Gengar, but it just Sludge Bombed me this time. Her second Gengar, which caused me so many issues, doesn't even go for a Hypnosis this time, and I got basically 2 max rolls to finish it off. And Haunter lives an Ice Beam, but gets frozen, and while she does have a full restore, her fate is now sealed. And honestly, when it comes to Lance, you can make an argument that he was the easiest fight all run. I knew going in that my Volt Beam combo would obliterate him, but still this fight was the antithesis of the Lorelei one, which was the first Elite Four fight, but I know my rival isn't going to be this easy. I feel good about my chances, and I do have some rare candies left if I need them, but I won't end up needing them. Pidgeot is a one-shot with Thunderbolt, and Alakazam still barely hangs on from return thanks to a bad damage roll. It only goes for Reflect, allowing me to two-shot with the next returns as he heals up. Executor and Rhydon prove to be no problem, and Ice Beam cleanly takes them out, but unfortunately I no longer have Surf or Arcanine. Even with the crit, Thunderbolt can't finish him, and he gets a return crit with Flamethrower. After exchanging some blows, including a Flamethrower burn quickly getting healed thanks to Shedskin, it's just Dratini versus Blastoise. In a crazy turns of events, Thunderbolt is a clean 2-hit KO, and Blastoise goes for Rain Dance. Not Hydro Pump or Bite, but Rain Dance. And that is how I beat Pokemon FireRed with only a single Dratini. This run was really weird. Brock and Lorelei both took a lot of grinding to be able to beat, but in between those two and after Lorelei, it was incredibly smooth sailing. Perhaps I could have been at lower level throughout, but it's not like I went incredibly out of my way to grind besides at the ending. And for those wondering about the post-game Elite Four rematches, I may cover them in a wrap-up video once Pseudo June is up. But anyways, I want to thank you everyone for watching. If this video seems short, it's because I started this script like 15 hours ago, so the fact that I was able to get it out this soon is kinda crazy. I almost didn't have an upload ready for this week, but I decided I wanted to do this, and Gen 3 videos are pretty easy to edit. Before I end off this video, I implore you guys to check out the link that I have posted in the description. There's a lot of fighting going on in the world right now, and a lot of people are crying out for justice and a better chance. So any donations, petition signing, or sharing of the link you can do will greatly help out. I've made a donation myself, and I will be making more as time passes. Ending off on a more positive note, I'm not sure what order I'll be doing these challenges in, but expect either Dino in Pokemon Black or Bagon in Pokemon Emerald next week. See you guys then!